up, guys?
Hey, Rich.
Hey, how's it going? Good
Welcome
to be
in.
here.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
in. You guys are a fun episode, and I'm really excited about it. I get to talk to you guys about your ridiculously awesome project that my family's already been to. So would you please introduce yourselves, and let's get right into it.
Yeah, I'm Mario. I'm probably well known in town on Nosara as Mariaso. Almost been here 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah, almost. 27 this year.
Lots happened.
Yeah, a lot. Including this, you know, this is a lifetime passion that I have, riding motorcycles. And I found it here. We have a little track and we try to teach how to ride motorcycle to people in a safe way and try to put a smile on their faces.
My name is Monica, and Mario's life partner, and you have been here in Nosara for about half that, about 15, 16 years.
Lots changed in that time too.
Yeah, absolutely. And happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So today we're talking about the Nosara Dirt Track. Or do you say dirt bike track? Dirt track?
Dirt track.
Okay,
dirt track.
so
but if I might say something about the dirt track or the name or the discipline, you know, dirt track is probably the oldest form of motorcycle racing in the world. Motorcycle racing comes from the rural areas of North America or Europe. And one of the easiest way to race motorcycle was just to go around an oval on the dirt. And so the dirt track, that's why it was born.
Did they go left back in the day too? Or did they ever go right?
Well, yeah, there's this variation of it. The dirt track includes flat track and a TT course. A flat track, it's an oval. You usually turn only to the left. A TT course is a variation of the flat track and includes turning to the right and most of the time, a little jump. I
gotcha. All right. Well, hey, that's a great introduction.
Yeah.
So, Monica, you're now into this whole world. You're riding bikes.
I am. Yeah. After, since I was 15 years old, I wanted to ride bikes, and I never did. And it took me turning 42 and this guy pushing me a little bit, or a lot. And I finally went and got my license, and I started riding on the road, and I was super uncomfortable. And then we took an off-road course, and that's where I could, play a little bit and fall and not get hurt and not be worried about the Coca-Cola truck coming.
Did your initial big fears and concerns start washing away after that, the course that you're talking about right now?
Yeah. And it was an off-road course, and it was actually for kids. Magenta was riding a bike before I was, if you can imagine. Right. She definitely was the inspiration. And I've only been riding for about a year, a little bit over a year, and having the track and having the opportunity to be in a safe space to explore what it feels like to push your limits and not, have traffic in the way. That's really where I built a lot of confidence. And that's what I hope we're, going to offer other people too.
Wow. So you started, well, it sounds bad to say late in life. I didn't mean
Definitely.
it that way.
It's true though.
You started recently.
Yeah.
There you go. That's more politically correct. We're in Nosara. I can't say the wrong thing or the social media thing.
You can say I was old.
Well, you said it.
I did.
We're actually the same age. So I'm going down with you. So you started recently.
Yes.
You started a long time ago. It was a childhood passion, right?
I wish I would have started even earlier, but my dad hated motorcycle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He truly did. I think he got scared himself one time. And so for me, it was like, no.
Okay. So it's a protectorate measure. He was just like, stay away from
what
those
we didn't
things.
like, he thought motorcycle was just a useless thing. They shouldn't be on the road in the first place. But, I pushed him a lot. And back in those days, we didn't have cell phones. And I come from Italy, and a little scooter, 14 years old, was just a way to get around with all your friends. So if you didn't have one, you really fell out of the group somehow. My first experience with a motorcycle, I was 12 years old, and this old man got this old 50cc out of his barn and didn't know what to do with it. And a friend of mine were right there, and he said, "You want it?" And I was, "Sure." And we took it. And we would go ride in the bush with this little thing.
So it worked.
It worked. Well, we had to hide it because of my dad. So we had to go and hide it, in the evening, the end of the day. And it lasted for a while, a few months until he broke in half, and that was it. But that got me hooked.
Wow, that's like a surfer's first wave kind of story that you hear about.
Well, I think that the surfer's kind of wave because of the feeling of really having control that came later. That's the school. That's the whole inspiration of opening the school, is because I started myself. I taught myself. And then you listen to other people say, oh, you should do this. Oh, never touch the front brake. Never touch the brake. So you get confused, but you still want to ride. So you go out there and ride. But you make mistakes, you fall, and you get hurt. So by the time I was in my 20s, that's when I put my ego aside a little bit and said, oh, I need to go and take some classes. I really want to ride. I really want to do it safe. I want to ride a big bike. I want to ride it fast. I want to know how to stop it. And so I went to a motocross environment. They didn't have flat track. Flat track in Europe, it's something new, actually. And so I jumped on, and I had the luck of a friend who was a racer and gave me tips and just started telling me the basics. And everything was the opposite of what I was doing. And after that, my life completely changed. And that's when the hook started, when the first time you feel that bike and the wheel and everything hooks up to the terrain and you're in control. And that is the sensation that I can see a surfer has, you know, because before it was like trying and paddling and always out of breath and always, stand up sometime, but always being wiggly.
You nailed it, man. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. And so in my 20s, that's when I really got when I really learned, I was like, oh, wow, I can do this, you know? Yeah.
What style bike were you learning on at this time?
A 250, 125 or 250 by that time, because I've been on the scooters for a long time. And then what we used to do when we were young, we used to trick out the engine so make it go fast. I raced actually on Vespas when I was about 16. I'll make my own Vespas and engines, and we'll do the quarter-mile straight.
What was your fastest time on the Vespa?
I don't remember. I think it was something like 8 seconds or something like that.
Whoa, that's crazy fast.
But it was a quarter mile. Not a mile, though. A quarter mile.
Yeah, I know. I had a
Very
car
short.
one time. It's not fast now, but at the time it was pretty fast. It was like a 13.9. And I made it under 14. I was like, oh my gosh. So I understand a little bit of the thrill of the quarter mile.
Right. Well, that's anyway, now maybe we jump in a little bit too forward, but the track where it is right now and the fact that we would like to eventually organize some kind of racing on the track. The land strip is right there. And I always thought that if that happens, we can always organize the quarter mile peak, on
the airstrip.
And so
Mario, every time we talk, you say one thing that I just never saw coming.
But I tell you what, because almost 30 years ago, the fiesta of the Toros would happen actually on the landing strip. It would happen, and then people would go up and down with their motorcycle all night, try to out fast each other,
Bill was telling me a story one time. One time a plane came in, and I said every day the plane came in like the same time, and he used to have to bring the one truck over in town over to jumpstart the plane to get the plane to fly back out. Just was no big deal. And then people would line up on the runway and point lights so people could come in and land.
Wow.
So anyway, you guys are located really close to the airstrip. We probably should have indicated that sooner. So tell us about your location, and tell us a little bit more about the facility, like who can go there and how do you work and all that good stuff.
It's open to everyone, from kids that are 2 years old. They want to ride a bicycle.
So you're saying a young kid, like it's family friendly, as in a young kid can go there.
Yes, and especially during the week, and if you call us up and make a reservation, or we try to organize with other parents that have smaller kids, and they don't have the place where they can learn how to ride a bicycle. Simple as that. And that's a safe environment as long as they bring their own bicycle and helmet. The entry is free. Just call me up or organize a few kids, and I'll open up the truck when there's no motorcycle running, of course.
Okay, got it. So you're saying that during the week by appointment works for you guys.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, it's always open.
On the weekend, usually we're open for motorcycles, though. So, bicycle, yes and no. The track is subdivided in 3 spaces.
Okay.
One is a shaded area under the trees, and then there's a space where we do the slow technical stuff for people who want to learn and practice, and then the track.
So you got different levels of that you can choose from. It's almost like an amusement park. You can go to the kiddie ride, you can go to like the basic roller coaster, and then there's the one that goes upside down.
Well, that's the desire. That's the vision, is to eventually create something like that. Something where, a pump track for bicycles and things like that, eventually with maybe more funds. But right now we try to keep it simple, but try to keep it as an opportunity for, like I said, parents get together and they looking for a place for kids to ride their bicycle. So easy as that. They don't have to come and ride a motorcycle if they don't want to.
Wow. So it's kind of interesting that it's so family friendly. That's the surprising point. So I want to stop for a moment, just kind of focus on that. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
that's weird
because it's underestimated. But if you want to do a birthday party and you want to have enough space for your kids to run around, and then just hook me, call me. It's available for that.
So kids' birthday parties can happen at Nosara Dirt Track.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can.
And you feel it'll be safe.
Well, yeah, if we organize it right, if there are parents who want their kids to ride by a motorcycle and try that, we can organize that too. Monica and I with Magenta, that's what she wrote the first time. We went and we did some research. So we went for a few different kind of discipline that we tried, And so we were learning from them how they do it. And a lot of the times that's what they do. Kids can come and try to bike for 15 minutes. They don't have to do a whole hour. They don't have to,
I get you.
Yeah, so if 4 kids want to try one bike, it's great. 15 minutes one, 15 minutes the other, and
I can work out. So it can hold a group quite well. So Monica, so you have your little precious baby daughter rolling around on the motorcycle and you're not just losing it. Because some moms out there, and probably you 10 years ago, or maybe even 2 years ago because you just started.
That's a great question.
Talk us through that. I bet people listening want to hear that.
Sure. I think one of the biggest things that I've realized is that it's actually very safe because of the environment and because we wear gear and because it's all about safety, right? So we have gloves, we wear boots, we have knee pads, elbow pads, chest protection. And
well, most of the people are riding around here don't have that set up at all.
And
in any way.
But I think that, that's part of the mission is to create a safety revolution where you want to come and ride on the track. You have to have a helmet. You have to be wearing boots and you have to have gloves because why? And eye protection because these are all necessary components of being safe on 2 wheels, whether it's a bicycle and that's why it feels very safe to have Magenta on a bike because first of all, we have ways of regulating the speed. And then we also, you have to start somewhere, right? And so if you have the right gear, then I've taken a tumble and literally stood up and just dusted myself off and I've gotten more hurt working out than ever on the motorbike.
Really? So the environment is that controlled. That's right. Really interesting.
It's the perspective you have about things sometimes. If you think about riding a horse or putting your kids to riding a horse, and I'm not against
a lot of people are scared. I'm scared
of
horses.
I love it. I ride horses and I wish Magenta would ride a horse. But if you think about it, that's dangerous too. You can get thrown off. You can get, squished by the same horse. So they're so dangerous about it, but you don't wear so much protection.
It's funny. I just had a childhood memory when you were talking. The first time I rode a horse, I got thrown off.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And just got trucked. And
were you wearing a helmet?
No.
See, most, yeah.
You know? Kidding? I'm not a sissy. That's how it was. It was the wrong mentality.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly. So to go back to the moms, it's like, don't worry because if you, or, when you see so many tourists or on a horse or everything, it's actually safer than that.
Well, hey, hold on the safety thing. We'll jump off of that in just a moment, but I want to go back to something Monica said. You said you can control the speed or regulate things like that. That's profound. And I think you should tell whoever's listening what you mean by that, because a novice or somebody who's just hearing, she's crazy. She puts her kid on there. Monica's losing it. And then they don't realize how much you really truly can control it.
I think, it's good to notice the steps, right? First, you have to be able to ride a bicycle. So this is why we open up the track for kids to come and learn to ride. And already from that point, get used to wearing a helmet. Granted, it's a bicycle helmet, not a motorcycle helmet, but they get used to wearing gear. Mm-hmm. And then once you ride a bicycle, then you have your balance and then you can get on a bike. And we start with a 50cc bike that has a regulator. So at that point.
So how fast does it go at first if a 5-year-old's on there?
I can make it go slower than a bicycle.
Exactly. So that's where a lot of the safety comes in. And I've seen you both with my children and my wife. You're on top of it, and you never have them going too fast too soon. Well,
and then to connect again what we were saying before about making it cool to wear protection, where, like you said, in the old days it's not cool. Right. But now you're trying to introduce it, especially in this area where it might actually be cool to wear it because then you use it, you try it, you felt it works, and so by the time you grow up, you learn it and you get used to it. Because I remember I didn't have to wear a helmet until I was 16 or something on the motorcycle, or 18 actually. We were kind of late with our laws in Italy. And the first time I wore a helmet, especially a full face helmet with the visor, wow, I couldn't ride because of everything got muffled and the visual. So you got to get used to it again. So to me, everything was late.
And in comparison, because I started later or recently, I don't feel comfortable without a full face helmet.
Gotcha.
That was all I've ever known because that's how I started. And so now this is my level. This is where I'm comfortable. If I have a full face helmet on, that's where I know that I can push it a little bit more. I know that I'm not going to get a bug in the face, or I know that my eyes are protected. It's a great point, because when you start them young, the right way, then it's not even a question.
Well, it seems like you're graduating people through the process for the first time, at least in this area.
Well, to me, the experience comes from my family, Magenta and Monica. And her now, she can put her own helmet on, latch it tight, and she's got so much used to it that now it's normal. She was playing, we stopped with the quad today, and she was still playing with a helmet on, but it takes a little bit.
Can I just make a public service announcement here since we're talking about helmets? How important it is, if you're going to put on a helmet, to latch it and to latch it tight. I see so many people that are riding around with a helmet on and then it's open and it doesn't serve at all. So if you're listening to me, please just latch that helmet nice and tight, and then you're safe. Make it worth it.
And then, another reminder, don't buy a cheap helmet. Don't go cheap on it, Buy a helmet that fits you. Try to look for the right size and, the right helmet that, spend a little money for it.
I get you. So kids are good there. Who else is riding at your track?
Women, mainly.
Women,
really.
So women are leading the charge?
They are leading the
Magenta
charge.
Club, like I said, I repeat myself, but my whole inspiration, beside myself, it's really these two women. Magenta as a young little girl, and Monica as already a woman, with a dream. And so the Magenta Club Royale, that's where it was born to give the opportunity to women to share time together, in something so challenging like riding a motorcycle, just because society always pointed their finger at them and said, no, you can't do it, or it's not too safe for you, or you're a mom, so all of these things, and we're having great success, and they have a lot of fun, and I'm so proud of it. I really am, because then it's so much easier to teach a woman than teach a man,
Yeah, teaching men.
I got an ego in the way, and
so good. So you feel the same way? Women are leading the charge, and it's kind of,
it's
you feel represented in
absolutely. And I think that just on a global level, it's happening. Women have a voice, and we're being heard. And then at the same time, we recognize that we can do everything, we're all human beings here, right? It's not just because that you're a man, you're stronger, or, you're a woman, you're softer.
It's not how it is at my house. My wife, she's way stronger than me. She's about this tall.
Well, Mario always mentions something that really, I can understand and resonate with. He always says that, there are women out there on a competitive level that are way better than just your average guy, right? Whether it be in running, swimming, surfing, or, riding motorcycles. And that's where we have to recognize that, and we can all do this at our own pace. Granted, I took my time over this past year of working through fear. And, so I feel like, as women, we're at that point right now where we're ready to go dive in and see, what are my limitations? Where am I holding myself back? What do I want to express? What do I want to feel? And that's where it gets really exciting to see other women, coming on the track, or just even, stopping me and saying, hey, I'm really inspired, but I'm afraid. And, to that, I say, I was afraid too. I still am. And that's what motivates me.
I got you. So your personal testimony is highly applicable for a lot of the other ladies around here, because they've never ridden a bike, and it just sounds too, I don't know, it's too late.
Right. But, and then to go back to the good of man and women competition, really, like I have to say this and give Monica a high five and say this in public for the millions of listeners right now. That seriously, we're training this last week, and at one point, we didn't start together anyway. She was in front of me, but usually I catch up to her and then I pass her, right? So 3 or 4 laps into it, I'm like, why don't I catch up with her? And there must have been a 10 lap where I definitely was trying to catch up with her, and I couldn't. So that tells you we were doing pretty much the same speed on the track. me with all the experience that I have, and her with little experience. So
and determination, a lot of determination.
It was very rewarding, you know, and then. If man leaves their ego aside a little bit, it's just fun as much as with another guy.
Super fun.
So you have Nosara Dirt Track, and it sounds like it's a really nice place, but you also can sell bikes, and you're a school. It seems like you kind of have multiple divisions.
Going back to where the umbrella of this, this brand really started with Premium Cycles.
Okay.
So Premium Cycles, you can find it on Facebook or on Instagram.
I saw that originally.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so and that was the beginning. Logo. Yeah.
The idea of motorcycles has always been there. And at one point, we owned a little hotel, Passepartout. Mm-hmm. We sold that. And with some of that money, we tried to make a little investment with one of the importers in San Jose that imports luxury bikes, let's call them that way.
Nosara and luxury bikes in the same sentence. That doesn't sound like one of your better ideas.
Well, right? Let's say high performance motorcycle. Let's put it that way. Okay, but it fell through for whatever was the reason. We couldn't do it. So we went back to the original idea, which was the dirt track, and so now here we are. Premium Cycle. In its name, as a brand, has two lightning bolts, and want to clarify that from the beginning, because even on the logo of the dirt track, there is a little lightning bolt, and that lightning bolt represents the future for us of what we want to go with this, which is actually electrical transportation, electrical motorcycles.
Cool.
The world of electric motorcycles is growing really fast. Harley Davidson's coming up this year, actually,
really?
with the electrical production bike.
That's going to change a lot of people's mentality.
Absolutely.
A big brand like that.
It's changing a lot, and the brand have to adapt because many cities in Europe already voted to get gasoline transportation out of the way, and so on and on and on.
Now, so you guys in Latin America, though, have to be light years ahead of most places if you're already thinking with this amount of vision.
But Nosara is in certain ways, and Nosara tracks
it's the right place to do it.
Right, a certain amount of people that understand this kind of thing. So eventually the future or the dream is to create a charging station on the track with electric bikes that goes around the track doing the same thing, but with electric bikes. We still have gasoline because that's the most popular one still now. And so, but then we're waiting for that transaction to go eventually all electric. By having a charging station there, we can show people how it can actually work, or it can be used for charging. So everything, it can be right on hands, you know, you can try it.
This is a great place for that too, because a lot of people just commute to work, to the beach, and home.
And it's the right type of mentality that's here. You'd have a very receptive audience to that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we hope. That's what we hope is to, because for as much as I love motorcycles, for as much as I love the noise of it, for as much as, you know, got me kind of deaf about it, but I love it, of course, and I come from the old days, fine, but I'm ready for the future as well. To tell the truth, I haven't tried a electric motorcycle myself. I know a lot of it. I've been reading a lot of it. I stay behind it.
You know it's coming.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
You know, it's like me with surfing, because I've never surfed in a wave pool, but I know one day I will.
Right.
You know, and maybe it's not perfect, and everything you just said, it was the same kind of vibe.
Well, then companies are understanding, because you have to compete with gasoline engines. So you have the range, and you have all these problems that you cannot compete with a gasoline engine yet, and especially maybe in this country. But what is understood, that especially for sport event, is great. Because people do not use it more than 3 hours. So if you give me 3 hours time span to work with it, then it's great. Put it on the back of the pickup, take it home, my toy, and right. So that's why they're becoming cheaper, and that's why the technology is growing faster, because now they found a way to sell more electrical bikes.
I got you. Now, Mario, here though in Costa Rica, a lot of the times technology and cheaper don't go hand in hand. The import taxes are frequently very high.
They don't. They have no import tax on electrical vehicles in Costa Rica.
Nice.
That is
nice. So that's a point worth noting.
Right. And so, like I said, I'm staying behind, and I see all the evolution of the market, and now you can get a really decent electrical bike for $8,000 US. Very, very decent. You know, that gives you the right transportation. It gives you around 250 kilometers range, and so it's coming.
And I think another good point to note is that a lot of people use motorcycles for transportation, right? I mean, the large majority throughout the whole world. So, not only here, but just in, you know,
space, parking, all these things.
Yeah, there's
even where we're at, parking. Where are you going to park in the G section?
Right
here, you know, in the high season.
Well, the other thing about the brand and the name Premium Cycles is because we want to just represent a premium product. there's you can find electric bikes right now in San Jose, but they're not good quality.
Yeah, it's not there yet.
No.
It's the same thing with phones and watches and everything else. As the technology catches up, it'll...
You know, those things are going to be in the trash in a year's time, so what's the point? You know, you're trying to do this for the environment, so
it'll
you have
catch
to go...
one day, though.
Right. You have to go premium from the beginning and get the best quality and so on. So we know that takes a little longer, but that's our aim.
So as your friend from the outside, I think the biggest risk in your business is that you're too far ahead of your curve. And what you got to do right now is reach the people. Again, tell me to shut up.
No, that's
how I feel.
Yeah.
I think you need to reach the people and get them engaged so that the drum starts pounding and the word gets out that, hey, this is safe, it's accessible, it's family friendly, you can hold a group. Right. Those are all fantastic things. And your average person walking around pretty much never thinks of motorcycles and those things in the same kind of category as motorcycle danger.
Right.
And they don't see it as this wonderful activity that you can do when the surf's not good or the weather's not as great. I don't know. There's a lot of fun to it. And
they call it the dirt track life for a reason, because it really is a family event. People go for a weekend. They bring their barbecue. They barbecue there. They spend the night, you know, with a chance so they can early morning go train and everything. And the particularity or the peculiarity of it, maybe that's not the right word, but is that it happens all on this oval. So anybody can become a spectator. You don't have to be involved with it. So even if you want to invite your friends, so they can come, have a snack.
Be a whole scene.
You're right. And here is almost like the old days. I actually saw a video lately. Somebody posted a video on social media. That's what they do. We forget. But Saturday and Sunday, you can go in any finca at any time and they ride bulls. Right? They have a couple of beers, they ride their bulls, and they have fun between themselves, right? So it's the same thing. This is the same mentality, is to bring it back a little bit where on Sunday, or if eventually we have a race day, bring whatever you want.
They create community.
Right. Bring your own.
So you guys got to do that right now, right?
Right.
Well, I think you're doing a good job with it right here. If anybody happens to listen to this, they're going to learn a whole lot real fast.
Sweet. Thank
I
you.
know I did. So you guys have been here for a while. Let's start with you, old timer. So anything interesting? Like, did you create or destroy anything of any significance that anyone would?
Well, as a human being, I'm sure I destroyed many things, I suppose. I don't know. You know, I've been here so long and things have changed so much. And sometime, I don't want to get too nostalgic, you know, how it was, the good old days or anything. If I may say, you know, without going too far back and maybe talk about the present, I think Nosara is developing in a good, healthy way, meaning that we don't have a lot of big company that speculates with big old, you know, condominiums and massive.
We have no large scale development whatsoever, and well, again, that's part of where some of my frustration comes up. Is when people get on and start this big huge hotel. Well, for us, a big huge hotel was 10 rooms.
Right.
Right. So
we're very fortunate compared to go down the list of almost any town on the Pacific Coast.
Right.
So sure, we're developing. How are you going to keep people away from here?
Right.
That's not going to happen. The people are going to come, but at least we have built-in green areas interrupting the community, and we have a couple buffers, and we just don't have space for big developers.
Right. And that's I use this word, you know, very lightly because I don't really believe in it, but I don't find any other words, which is luck, you know, kind of it developed like the right. Tamarindo didn't have the same luck, you know, Hakau didn't have the same luck. There's other beaches that were, I remember Hakau when there was nothing. It was a beautiful beach. I remember one of the best week of my life there. But right now I wouldn't go back, you know, stay there. You know,
I don't
it's not my environment
there at all.
Right. So, but Nosara, for this matter, you know, the ways it's evolving.
Well, now you have a family too. So Nosara's, I don't know, the value of Nosara, I think, goes up drastically if you have kids. Because then it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. A lot of that stuff I didn't get before, but now I do.
It's interesting, having been here so long, that we've seen the curve of the singles. You know, I actually remember when the ratio was more men to 10 men to 1 woman, and now it's basically 20 women to 1 man. Well, so we've seen a big shift.
We have to remember,
right?
if you mention that, though, it happened because of women themselves, right? Because let's not forget, you know, I'm Costa Rican, by the way, so I always have to be proud about my country a little bit. Italo Costarricense, but you know, women got themselves more independent because of building a university in Nicoya. So they had more access to it. You know, the machismo got freer from, you know, that's why a lot of men, because women were kind of, you know, maybe a little bit repressed, and you have to stay.
You're not saying anything offensive. They definitely were.
I'm saying right. I'm actually giving power to women.
I know.
The change that I saw here in 30 years is that women actually, well, how to want the thriving economy of the world, you know, and you can see it here, how women have changed and how they've empowered themselves, and how the country, you know, we forget that give this media to people, you know, and there's a free university, there's free knowledge that's out there for women and everybody to be taken, of course. So
right, and then also you had industries like yoga that started, and then you have a whole health and wellness culture that's evolved, and then what's interesting in that, I mean, shout out to Donna and Emma.
If I interrupt you just because you said a yoga, and it just reminds me that this used to be a sunny place for shady people. So now I'm talking about the whole, he's changed a lot. Did
all you yoga folks, did you blast a lot of the darkness out of here?
I think it's still here. It's just, and I think it's a very good place to come and explore your shadow self, but it's got a lot of balance now, you know, and as I was saying, you know, we went from being singles and surfers and yogis to a lot of families, right? And in that, you know, families need different things than what we had before. And so I think this is where it's just a very organic, natural segue into, you know, what's happening at the dirt track. I mean, this is how it used to be, wanting to bring together the community, wanting to bring together not only.
That's interesting. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
That way.
And not only the foreigners, but the ticos and everybody.
The whole deal.
Yeah. You know, just absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, again, the Fiesta, the toros were much different. The interaction there was with the foreigner, it was one of the only occasions where we really, really mix, you know, and you go into the ring and participate. So, to me, the dirt track or the flat track experience is that anybody can do it for that time, for those 4 laps, 10 laps, whatever it is, you know, with the bike you want. That's fine. Have your 50 minutes of fame and have your friends looking at you and the same as that.
Just put in your equipment so when you wreck, you're still okay.
And it's actually much more safer than that.
Right.
Again, you know, because if you really have your equipment.
Well, if they're there at your track, though, they have it on. So people are in a way better position by just starting off that way.
Right, absolutely.
Than hopping on a bike right now and just flying all over the place.
Exactly. I mean, how many kids get hurt or die?
Way too many. Way too many deaths. We have way too many deaths that are unnecessary.
Man, you know, you grow up and testosterone and this and that, you want to show off. And when you do it, a couple of beers, you do it on the street. But come on the track. That's what I said. So come on the track. It's fine. You know, you can do it here. We can do it because then we have a short track. Means that the speeds are limited. You know, they're not very high speed. You can get hurt by, you know, falling down the stairs. You can't go to any other. Life is dangerous, but it's not that dangerous as people think.
You're absolutely right about that. And I witnessed it with my own eyes. Yeah. So let's jump over, and we've talked about it a little bit. I'd like to get from each of you a couple Nosara likes and dislikes. And everyone prefer to hear like an authentic, how you really feel answer, because everyone's on social media and everything's perfect and it's always rainbows and unicorn farts, like I always say. Like, let's just be real for a second.
Yeah, sure. So for likes, I mean, it's really quite simple. It's the nature. It is. It's to be able to walk outside at night and see all the stars on a new moon, and also to walk to work from Pelada to Guiones for 20 minutes as my commute. You know, that's really definitely what keeps me here. And, you know, I look forward to, you know, really preserving that and enjoying it with my family and sharing that for sure.
Nice. So likes. So what about your likes?
Healthy way that the community is growing, you know, looking more into a healthy way of life than the shadow side of life that, you know, my other towns have, you know. So that's definitely a like for me.
Hey, you know, what's interesting to me is there's certain words you don't really believe in or concepts like charity or luck or things like that. And that's a whole nother episode. But,
right.
But it is kind of weird. This place is kind of lucky because if you think about it, and you've been here longer than I have, tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. This used to be a cattle field, right? Tourism and development, ironically, is what brought nature back. We had a big field project that basically crapped the bed, for lack of better words. That the trees grew. And then but it's just the opposite of the other towns. And Tamarindo, Jaco, Quipos, just all of them, they all got chopped up, and there's one project that's like this, and then there's one right beside it that's like this, and they look different. And one's that it's peppered, and there was no congruency, and it all went different directions.
Right.
And we, by having this colossal cluster screw of a failed project with the old golf course holes, we now have green areas that interrupt the whole place, and now there's no room for it to become a Tamarindo. Right. So when people come, they're like, "Hey, how could you work for this place that's going to turn this place into Tamarindo?" I'm like, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way either. That's why I think it's alike, and you can't stop it. But the way it is, the Harmony Hotel, I gotta say, did a standing job of replanting all that beach. Like I said, I've been here a long time, and I see it completely no true. So, even if you can say, well, more houses, less monkeys, right? Yes, but then there's more tree planters, some other place.
Yes and no.
Right, yes and no.
If we're smart about it, we actually can do it the right way.
Well, there is a mentality towards that, which is very important. So for me, is keep the goal of electric. It's some of the same idea. If we all participate, maintaining this kind of mentality, and like I said, inverse captive and so we can go on and on how we could or not save the world or the human species for that matter. But now let's keep it light.
To be determined on that, right?
Right.
Dislikes, Monica. This is gonna be hard for you because everyone sees you as this positive being, radiant, full of light and love, and you are all those things, but you're still human. So
very human.
So what are some dislikes about this place? I'm sure the whole of Nosara is interested in what you're about to say.
It's pretty simple. I mean, the dust is, it's my tolerance for dust has year by year become, it's tough. So
and it's about that time.
It is. Yeah. For the lungs, for my daughter, for myself, for the people who have to walk to work or ride a bike or, I think it's really tough. So the dust is number one. That's it. Just to keep it super simple.
That's a big one. That's super common. You're not alone. Yeah. You're not alone on that one. Mr. Mario.
I gotta say,
you can have a couple. You don't have to just choose one.
Right. I gotta say, security on the beach. There's too many free dogs. There's too many people that have their dogs and they believe their dog is so nice. But even if you have a big dog and even if it doesn't bite me, but approach me in a certain way, I can get scared. And I'm kind of tired of looking at shit everywhere, dog shit everywhere. That's the other thing. And the other thing is horses shit. Now, the more tourists we have, that's one thing that we should, look into it. It's like, maybe now there's too many. There's too many horses. There's too much, and that's for reminding that I don't think fishes like to eat horse manure. So, like I said, again, it's something that I don't really like. I think something that can be within the community regulated with people that rent horses. We can, maybe talk to them and see where we can find alternative pathway. Because if I'm going to a trail and there's a horse poop, that's not a big deal. On the beach, I think it's just different. A turtle wants to lay the eggs or whatever. It's still a national park. So same thing with dogs. And the arrogance of certain owners where they believe their dog is just so nice and beautiful. And maybe it is. And I don't say no. But, we should all get on a leash. We have a dog ourselves and we try to train ourselves as much as we can to keep our dog under control. And that's it. Because accidents happen before, bloody accidents, and again, like the dog shit.
No, those are legitimate points of view.
And I'm keeping it light.
What do you think about the emergence of this whole area? Like people say they go to Nosara. Most people never go to Nosara town. They come to Guiones or Pilata. There's a big difference between the two. And one of the bigger themes in what you guys are trying to do is it seems to unify some of this stuff.
Bridge for sure.
Here's what I see. Cause I've only been here. I'm about to start our 10th year.
Yay.
So.
Felicidades.
Well, I've seen just enough to notice that there's a bit of a chasm. I don't think the local populace is being given the tools necessary to advance to a tourism-based economy and get the higher level jobs. And that's scary to me a little bit because with the Security Association, a lot of the times that we find out is a lot of the people who steal, it's not that they're super wealthy and they're just bad people. A lot of the people, especially we have people coming across the borders from all this stuff going up in the country north of us. There's a lot of people around and there's a whole lot of opulence, and you have vacation renters and people coming in who have a lot of money, bringing lots of goodies.
Right.
And the difference for that person who loses that's an inconvenience. The person who got it, that might have been how they fed their family. So we have this big difference. And if we're not giving the local populace the tools to go from an agricultural society into a tourism based one, I think that's scary for the next generation. So that's one of the reasons I kind of started this. I'm trying to get the word out. I want to like get a community center and find a way with all these brilliant minds and people that are coming through who are staying at these hotels and houses and businesses. We all know people in our daily life who, if we asked them, I think they would give an hour to go share financial advice and share how compound interest works, to give an opportunity. Now, I'm not saying we're going to solve the world or anything, but it would be nice if there was a spot where if there's a local kid who wants to get an education or wants to learn a skill or a trade, they could get the job here. You don't have to hire from San Jose or pull from out there.
Agreed. Absolutely. Wow. And I think we have to, I do think we have to try to find a way that we can, support, especially in the rural areas, people to, like you're saying, have an education, have an opportunity. Well, but I don't want to change the culture. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just pointing out that here, this is the businesses that are coming.
But I think it's not only here. I think you're pointing out a global condition of the human condition right now. You know, we created a very unjust society. We did as human. You know, all of us, and so now we have to deal with that. And still, the problem is the injustice. You know, like you mentioned, and I don't want to go too deep, maybe it's not the place, but, you know, charity and all these things, it's just not, or sometime the way the foreigners come here, they come with we're not with a truly mentality of help, or maybe they shouldn't even just stay in your corner, but they come with a colonizing mentality. They don't even realize it anymore. They come from in a Western mentality where it's not truly wanted to help. It's actually wanted to tell you how to do it.
Well, that's the whole missionary. That's what us white people like to go do.
Right. And so that's what
white people burn.
You know, no, everything should be analyzed, but I think the ultimate is like kind of like the environment a little bit, you know. Great, you know, go and clean up the beach. You know, I have nothing against that. Go, and I'll probably help you, but we're not going to solve the problem of that, you know, because who produces so much. And I tell you, people, if you go in one of these supermarkets, if you go in one of these places where big hotels or big restaurants get their things, it's staggering the production of this. So, what the solution is to stop it, right? Is to really change their ways, and that is definitely the hardest.
Yeah, the machine's big and the wheels are spinning.
Well, like again, the society is like, are you going to tell this wealthy person, say, okay, you know what, give away some of your wealth because now we have to kind of redistribute, try to, you know, and not only the person who has more, even the person who has little and says, well, give away this. It's like, well, why? These guys have it, you know, why now have to give it? Why can't I have the chance to have what?
Sure. And I agree with you that this is where we're at. But I think one of the things that we should take into consideration, and this goes back to one of my likes about, Nosara, is the simplicity. And you have to be able to make it here, you have to simplify. You can't, you know, the more stuff you have, the more it breaks. And the more, sure. You know, I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've had here is, you know, you can show up with a bunch of stuff, but poco a poco, you have to start like letting go and just, you end up coming back to this essence where you walk around barefoot and, you know, you have your board shorts on or your sarong or in our case, you know, a little more gear. But, you know, it becomes more a simpler life. And, you know, I think that's one of the things about Nosara that's so nice is that we don't even have a big, you know, super target to go buy crap, you know, I would say for everything that we're discussing right now, Nosara is a pretty amazing place compared to almost everywhere else. Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's coming in, even the big money people who are coming in, none of them are coming in saying, I don't care about the trees. I don't care about the monkeys. They want it. That's a big draw. So I think we've won a lot more than we've realized. Well, I think we kind of hit a tipping point for the better, and we need to keep marching down this path, but the rest of the world, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. We've got to maintain perspective, you know, but it's very interesting what you're saying because you get influence. People want to be liked by other people. People want to, so if you come in a community like this and it's careful about what tree they cut down, what to build, it's like, okay, I cannot do a difference, you know, I want to, so even, I hope that we came to the point where even the big developers are like, oh man, I cannot build there anymore because even if I do it, nobody will go there because, you know, it's such how to place with the whole, the rest of it.
Well, so it's becoming more socially, cool per se to build around stuff. Like right now, if we go back to the day I first arrived here, I didn't have these feelings. It was like, all right, this town's going to go one way or the other. Cause I had watched, my first trip down here was 99 and I had watched Taco Capos, Tamarindo, Dominical, the whole line, and even Nosara. And I've been watching And when I first got here, it was like, well, maybe it's next. And it didn't quite do it. It still maintained its sense of community and it has that feel, and it's changing, but at the same time, it still kind of feels the same.
And I want to just throw out a appreciation for some of the old timers that have been here for longer than Mario, and that have really put
longer
together.
Than me? Bobby Johnson.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
A big,
the Bobbies and the old CIA agents.
But yeah, there were some guidelines that were set up, and at some point I remember being young and being like, I don't get it, and now I get it.
Well, the young kids, it's tough when the young kids start yelling at them, because I'm kind of sitting in the middle. I'm like, hold on, I know you guys want to party and rage, but and you think that they're like the old guy beating you down. That old guy is the reason why your business is what it is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a good shout out.
Right.
That's a pretty good one. All right, so let's move next subject. Nosara restaurants. You have to choose 3 each.
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be in order, but off the top of your head, you have to do it pretty quick, because if you think about it too much, you'll get lost.
I got it already.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, definitely the Harmony Restaurants and Juice Bar is top. And,
Hold on. You had way too much to do with the Harmony. I'm rejecting and eliminating your.
But I eat there every day, and it's so good. And I know the sourcing of it all.
Okay. Shout out to Harmony. We love you guys. But
okay, so
somewhere else.
Al Chile.
Okay.
El Chile.
No.
Come on. Okay. Conflict. We're gonna start over. Okay.
Cut. Delete.
Okay.
Deleting nothing. Go ahead.
El Chivo.
Okay. Why? What do you like there?
Everything. Well, okay. The truth be known,
you're a positive person.
Well, the truth be known is definitely the beer and wings.
Okay.
But if I'm not feeling beer and wings, they have great salads too. So yeah. And then La Luna.
Okay.
Absolute staple.
Sunday. Pilatus side of town.
Yeah. Sunday is definitely all about La Luna brunch all day long with the kids. That's kind of it. Unless you want, unless I can say the gelato.
You can say that.
From the secret spot. Fine. I mean, that's the best gelato in town.
So all Pilatus side, you're happy over there.
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. All right, Mr. Mario.
Okay, I'm going to start with Soda Vanessa in town. Great breakfast and lunch, fresh every day. Typical, price is right. Second one would be Rancho Tico. Favorite plate, probably the fish soup. The meat is good too.
It seems to be like the steakhouse of our area, if we have one. Is that
I rarely,
is that fair to say?
I was going to say I rarely eat meat, but if I have to eat meat or I feel like craving for red meat, that's what I eat. The red meat.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third one, I have to give a shout out to the ladies that make the banana bread at the supermarket in Nosara and the tamales.
Why she can't stay away from the banana bread?
So I don't know if that really classify as a restaurant, but
that works. It's a food source.
Okay, good.
You're in.
I got 3, right?
Yeah, you're in. Good. Everything's good. All right. So while you have this platform, is there anyone you want to thank, recognize, talk to, say anything, any message? You already got out your PSA, your public service announcement for the helmets.
Yeah, for sure.
Which was a great message. Do you have any more pearls of wisdom that you can share with us?
I just want to thank you, actually. Yeah. And people like you that want to bring together community and are thinking not just about yourselves, but about everyone. And so, thanks for having us here. And
it's my pleasure. And I am thinking about myself, because if I help you guys enough, I help enough others, then you guys are going to help me.
But yeah.
And that's kind of what you said. That's community. That's what we're going for. Right. If I had a dislike, it's when we put up walls in our town that don't necessarily need to be there, because I think that slows all of us down.
Yeah.
And everyone can try to do good your own way. We need to just pull it down and still compete. I mean, that's okay. Nothing wrong with competition, but it doesn't need to be like high school level competition. And I would like for that part of this town to
it doesn't have to be a competition where somebody has to starve and somebody, it can be a little bit more equal or well distributed, without having to be accused of being a communist or socialist or anything that I don't eat children. I don't,
I got you. Things can flow. Things can flow. Things can flow.
But just the last amount, if I'm allowed, people can reach out to us, even if they don't want to ride or they already have a motorcycle, they already ride it, and they want some information about riding gears, especially. Maybe not where to buy them. We don't really have somebody. Marvin is our reference, but how to choose a helmet. You know, what's best for them to ride on a pavement or on off road, and we're glad to.
Gotcha. So you'll do free consulting essentially to help people get rolling.
Yeah, if they want to call me up and say absolutely, because I noticed that. When people come and learn with us and they never bought a helmet, they don't really know actually how it should fit, you know, and you would think that somebody won't just put it on. But yes, it has to be snug. It has to feel where it's on you, you know, it has to be latched properly.
It's all the little things.
All the little things that's what makes the helmet work, because you can spend thousands of dollars on it, but if you don't latch it, then it's like if you spend.
I gotcha.
You know, so.
Well, both your shout outs about helmets hopefully are
really
well received.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for coming in, both you guys. I really hope this helps your business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Oh, last thing. How do people find you?
They can go on Facebook under Nosara Dirt Track.
Okay.
Ask for Friendship. Premium Cycles on Facebook as well. Okay. And we are building our new website, which is going to be NosaraDirtTrack.com.
Okay, right on. So NosaraDirtTrack.com, are on Facebook, our social media, Nosara Dirt Track, our Premium Cycles. That's you guys.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.